Howdy folks, welcome back to Nakamile Arc. Today we are going to do a flight that I've been thinking about for a while. We're going to fly to the Galapagos Islands, and in fact it's going to be a multi-part or multi-video series here. We're going to fly to the islands and then fly around the islands in another video, then come back. I've been holding off on this flight because I've been trying to wait for the version 3 of the FlyJSim 727 to be released before I did this flight. But I'm getting kind of antsy. It's been on my whiteboard for a while, and I've really been wanting to do this flight. So we're going to take the version 2 727-200 anyway, because there are going to be plenty of flights for version 3 once it's released. It's close, though. It's close. I've been trying to hold off, but I just got too antsy. So here we are, and we are in the version 2, which means we have a few issues. For example, every time the flight sim is updated, the aircraft does crazier things. So, for example, right now as it sits, this aircraft has twice the thrust and half the drag. And what does that mean? It means that descent or calculating top of descent is very difficult, and we'll probably need spoilers all the way down, and we'll probably descend at a slightly uncomfortable descent rate. We can always circle the airport and stuff if we have to, but that's one of the first challenges. Another challenge in this that I found with recent updates to the sim is trying to land in this thing with the full flap configuration. If you remember, the last time we took this out, I think, was the Easter Island trip, and I just got super wobbly, and it was very difficult to control, which is too bad because historically my best landings consistently have always been in this aircraft until recent updates to the sim. So we have those challenges ahead of us, but like I said, as close as it is to the version 3 release of this aircraft, I'm just too antsy to fly this thing now. It's been a long time. I want to fly it. So that's what we're going to do. So for this first video, we're going to fly from Quito. I think we're in Quito, Ecuador. And then we're going to fly to the Galapagos Islands. We're going to land at Mariscal International Airport, Sucre International Airport. It's the biggest airport I could find. So that's why we're going to land this thing there. And then in another video, like I said, we'll fly around the islands, like touch and go stuff on the different airports. And then in another video, we'll fly back. So multi-part thing. I know we also have our 50 States series going on at the same time. So we're going to have that big series and then like a 4-parter, 3-parter for this. But don't worry, it's going to be fun and it won't get boring. So that is the intro to this. We do have real world weather turned on. Clouds are pretty low and scary, but we'll be fine. Besides, as soon as we take off and head left, it's going to be ocean anyway for like several hours. So not a big deal that we have clouds. Wind is like 6 knots from 20 degrees. So we'll take off on runway 36. And it's 7 o'clock in the sim. Thinking of like a 7:30 departure probably. The distance, I have all kinds of distances written down. Anywhere between 523 nautical miles to 757 nautical miles, depending on what resource you use for the distance. So it's not a short flight, but in this thing, having the speed that it does before it's updated, we should get there in no time. Just like a 2 hours, maybe hour and a half. 2 hours to touchdown, let me guess, because if we go about 400 knots or something in this crazy thing, is it that fast? I can't remember. It's plenty fast. And so a couple hour flight, which is fine. My wife is doing her new hobbies and I'm flying tonight. So here we go. Enough circling the airport. We got lots of good looks. So let's get this thing started. We are completely cold and dark except for the stairs in the back. So the pilots can get in. Just like you see there. The point being, when we hop inside, it's completely quiet this time. Because normally I have external power turned on and a few things going before I even record, but I wanted to do a complete cold and dark. So let's find my mouse here, and is it this one? We'll do the air cart and the ground power so that we can go up here and turn on external power, which is up. And there's the sound you're used to hearing. Stairs already down, and radio frequencies we'll worry about in a moment. I have to turn my sim volume down. I forgot how loud this thing is. Right, so now it's time to get our passengers. That's the B card here. Actually, I'm just going to leave it as it is, I think. Yeah, let's just leave it the way it is. For distance, though, we'll leave that too. 1,000 nautical miles. That gives us a couple hundred extra in case I screw up and have to circle the islands or something terribly. Because, again, I don't have Dead Reckoning. I don't have SIVA. Don't have GPS. So we're going to use the VORs as long as we can. There'll be a lot of dead space in between. And then we'll probably pull up the map and use the blue line, just like we did for Easter Island. If you remember going back that far, I know that was a while ago. But anyway, we'll just leave all that as default. Kind of works out nice. In version 3, this is all going to be randomized, by the way. I've seen previews of that, and I'm looking forward to that. So let's hop back over here and turn our battery on now. And then we're going to trip the APU, which is one of my presets. There it is. Trippy, trippy. And then we're going to start this thing up. Field and generator to close. Wait, I can't see it. Everything's dark. Field and generator. No, start APU. There we go. Up all the way. There we go. I do FlyJSim in the dark. I have this office downstairs with all my YouTube stuff set up, and it's all dark. The problem is I have to use a light from the monitor in order to read my checklists. So, kind of works against myself there. But we'll let this thing start up, and then we'll move on. All right, temperature is still climbing, but we're going to move on for the sake of time. So, field and generator to close, which would turn off external power. And it does in the middle here. And we're still running, so that's good. All right, let's get some lighting started here. If I can remember where these are. There's logo, wing, beacon, nav, strobe can come on. Those all stay off for now. No smoking sign. Where's that in here? Right there. And fasten seatbelt sign. Emergency lights armed. I think we just push that down. Yep. And we'll test the stall warning, where if you hear it in this, it is way too bad. All right, let's see. Stall warning, we did that. Window heat, turn those on. And what's going to come up next? Your APU bleed. It's also going to be interesting to see the differences in the version 3 compared to the version 2. This is already study level version 2, so I can't imagine what extra there's going to be in version 3, but I'm going to have to relearn a lot of things. I'm looking forward to it and getting more and more detailed as I learn more things. All right, so cooling doors are open. Light switches, don't need to worry about them. Disconnect the air card and GPU, and if I did this right, you should stay running. And we do. There we go. So that is good. DC meters to ESSTR. Gasper fan on. There we go. Right AC pack on. Air pressure set to cruise. We are going to cruise nice and high today. Actually, well, there we go. 33,000 feet. For me, that's nice and high. Once I get in the 30s, this thing just wobbles around. So I don't like to go higher than that. So we'll do 33,000 since it's already there. Destination altitude for landing is pretty much sea level, so we'll keep that default too. Wow, I've never used defaults, and everything's going to be default today. Okay, there we go. Flight plan stuff. Wait, air pressure switch to ground. It should be by default. Yeah, okay. Flight plan stuff. So, the way this is going to work is we're going to head towards direct and then take off out from the Quito VOR, which is 115.3. So we go up like that, whoopsie doopsie, and then 115. 115.3, I'm going to put on both so I can actually go right towards it as we take off. So 115.3, 115.3. And then we'll head towards 112.3 on the other side of the ocean. And that's it for VR navigation. So simple in theory, but difficult because we're going over the ocean and we're going to lose them both. So what we'll do is we'll use nav1 for the actual VOR here, and then we'll use nav2 for this. So we'll point directly towards Quito, then we'll leave at 271 degrees, which is clicky clicky. There we go. And then once we do that, we will come back and then immediately we'll switch this over to the other one so we know when it's going to kick in. Then we can click this first one because we know we'll pick it up. And what I mean by that, if you haven't seen my videos before, is when we get a distance in DME2, we know we've picked it up. Although sometimes you pick up the VOR long before the DME. So that's not the best way. However, when I normally fly slant alpha, we have like 15 or half a dozen to a dozen VORs. So that does work because you don't have MEA gaps or MIA gaps. So you can just flip them around. But because we're going long distance and we're going to lose them, we'll just flip this in. We'll pick it up. Now, this one will probably flip before that too. Use a heading bug in between. We'll drift off course a little bit. But if we use the map, we'll just use the blue line, just like we did to Easter Island. And it will be fine. So I'm just going to double check my radio frequencies one last time. and they look good. And we're going to leave at 271. So that's it for flight plan stuff. No ADFs and no ATC. So that is as simple as slant alpha as you can get. The weird thing is this is over long distance, so it's not so simple after all. Altimeter, barometer. Let's head up here and pull up our map and our airport and get our details. 3027. So we'll go over here. 30567. There we go. I think, I don't know for sure. I think this is all going to be scroll wheel support in version 3. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not a source of authority or official or anything. So I just think it's all going to be mouse wheel support. At least I guess I'm just hoping it really is. So our altimeter is set. To close the stairs. What's my stair thing? Here we go. Come back out here. That's the APU here. Now, at one point I thought I heard that the doors were going to be modeled on the sides, even though this doesn't have a cabin, but I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think so. We'll all find out together for that one. And then we'll be doing a cold and dark start tutorial on version 3, of course, but not immediately, because now I want to actually know what in the world I'm talking about. So I will have a cold and dark start. It just won't be immediately when the plane is released. Just want to let you know that is my plan. We'll turn on all these 8 boosts here and close both cooling doors, which to editing only takes a second, just like that. Turn off the AC pack. So it should say off, and it does. All bleed valves open. We're low altitude. I think we're low altitude. What are we at? No, I think this is high altitude. Yeah, see how our pressure is below 30. In this airplane, 7,000 feet is high altitude. So we have to do this in the special way. So, left APU and engine bleeds. The other two have to go down because we have to be above 30. And, okay, we should be. Yep, we're up to like 50 something, so that should be fine. So that means we're actually going to do the engines differently too, because this is considered high altitude in this model for some reason, even though it's only 7,000 feet. Ground crew button, which is going away in version 3. It's just going to use the built-in pushback, but I love this. This is your little pushback window. So we want to do runway 18, which is to the right off screen. So we are going to do, let's see, show ghost. We want to go that way, except wait a second, we can't get out there. So we have to go this way and then turn around. So we're going to go that way 90 degrees. That's great. So release parking brake, press auto, and that's going to push back for us. And then while that's pushing back for us, we are going to do engine startup, which is normally 2, 3, 1, but I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 because of the high altitude thing. So put that to ground. Come down here. Whoops, not that one, is it? Oh, which gauge is it? I can't remember, or which preset. Here it is. And we want to be at 22, which we already are. So is it this one? Oh, it's going to be this one now. There we go. Get the fuel in there. There we go. That's climbing on us. Now we do have to let everything stabilize and the low fuel or low oil go out before we can start the other engine at high altitude. So we have to be mindful of that. So let's just look at the neat little pushback, listening to the engine spooling up. Very cool. Is it going to stop? Or are we going to go onto the grass? Let's see what happens. You can stop us any time now. Please. There we go. Alright, let's come down here, set the parking brake. Like that. Everything should be stabilized now. And it is. We can come back up here. Close this to engine 2. Come down here. And then when N2 gets to 20 something %, we can start up. I just realized I think I need to add the other bleed though. There we go. There's 22, 25, whatever it's supposed to be. Is it this preset? There, we got it. Engine 2. It's been a while since I've done high altitude. And that stabilized and the light went out, so now I can go up and do 3. First, I got to do that bleed though. And then do engine 3, close that. Ground, let's just close that. Come down here. When that gets to 22, is it 22 or 25? I can't remember. Whatever it is, 25. Then we can turn on the last fuel. 22, 24, 25, and turn it on. And if you're wondering what I mean by the high altitude, if your PSI is below 30 with all your bleed valves on, then you have to consider it high altitude. Because if you try to start below 30, you're not going to start. I've learned that a few different times. Alrighty, let's make sure all of our lights have gone out, and they have. So now we can come back here and do hydraulic A and B. And let those turn off once they build up, and they did. Close the 3 generator ties, or all the generator ties. It's closed, right? Not trip. Make sure you go in the right direction. I think I've gone the wrong direction before, and it kind of makes things difficult. There we go. Galley power can turn on now. Like so. Both AC packs can turn back on now. Cargo heat can go to normal. External power, essential powers to generator, which are here. AC meters to bus tie, and they are automatically. Make sure there are no lights up there, no lights down there. That means we did everything right. Fuel heat should be off, and it is automatically. Come up here, do our anti-ice and pitot heat. I'm just going to worry about our heaters. I'm not worried about anti-ice. And then we're going to trip the APU and hope we stay running. Turn that off. It should wind down. Everything's still running. Alrighty, hop back over here. Pressure light to flight, or pressure switch to flight for cabin. Passenger and, or passenger temp. Let's go a little bit cool today. Why not? Gasper fan can turn off now. APU bleed can come off now. Check the reference and speed bugs. Yes, we will. So look, take our V card. We're going to take off at flaps 20 at 119. So that's our first flag there. Flaps 20, if we come over here, is about the 4 o'clock position. Okay. And our weather display, I think I have a new preset for weather, don't I? Yeah, it's this one here. Turn it on. Can we see it? Yep, there we go. Turn that on. I don't know if weather actually shows up. Other people have asked that too, and I actually don't know. TCAS. We gotta wait for that to boot up, then we can turn on TCAS. Otherwise, taxi light can come on. Like that. Won't worry about the turn off lights, nav, and strobe. I already turned those on a little bit early. Let's say we're turning them on now. Sorry about that, all those who you had to look at that for the past couple minutes. RTO for brakes. Let's see if we can turn on our TCAS yet. There we go. Weather and TCAS. Alright, flaps can start coming down. And we're going to taxi out of here. So we're just going to taxi out to runway 18, which is behind us. We're just going to go that way. And that's it. These really low clouds. We're not going to be able to see much in terms of scenery, but we've been along this coast before. Parking brake off. Give this thing a lot of throttle. Get going. So anyway, we've flown along this coast. Not Ecuador, but we've flown along these mountains. So I'm not too worried about losing sight of the mountains immediately. Alright, let's get out to where we're supposed to be here. I'm going to try to get around all this airplane traffic. I'm having flaps come down as we go, just because it takes a while. See, do I have a taxi view set up in this? I do. Let's have a quick look here at all the traffic before we have to try to turn. Oh, now we're getting speed. Okay. Now we're getting speed. Camera gonna follow. Yep, okay. We're just gonna kind of cut our corner here. It's really hard from this angle to do this. Are we gonna make it? Oh yeah, we're going a little speedy, but we're gonna make it. There we go. Alrighty, awesome. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to taxi down here quickly. I'll speed up the video instead of cut it, and I'll meet you at the end of that runway. Alright, and we're clear just to pull out onto the runway before we do our final check before we take off. And wow, we're barely 20 minutes into this video and we are ready to take off. It has never been this quick for me to start this thing up, I don't think. So we're just cooking right along. Let's check the sim time here in a moment and see if we're making our 7:30 departure. I think we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule. So I'm straighten out here so our heading bug will be aligned properly and come down here and set the parking brake. Alright, what's the sim time? Yeah, that's all screwed up because it was 7 o'clock when I started and this is 7:15, but the video's been going for 25 minutes. That's strange. Oh well, anyway. That clock's always weird. We did the Easter Island thing. It was, even though I did the Easter Island thing in real time, the clock was like 2.5 hours off ahead. I couldn't figure it out. Anyway, so here we go. End of runway, flap check. Let's see. 20 degrees. Yes, landing lights on. We keep the taxi lights on for this. Check flaps we did. Trim, if you just click the green band, it trims for you. Note the time on the clock. I'm going to note the time on the real life clock because I don't trust that. So 7:15 in the sim, 8:55 real lifetime PM. And here we go. We have a long enough runway. We are going to take off at 97%, not 100. And I'm just going to set the heading bug in case I screw up. And when we do engage autopilot, it'll hold our bank. That's the wrong word, but it'll hold our bank angle and our pitch. Use flight director, and then don't worry about our altitude and everything. I will set our altitude now, though. What did I say we're going to do? 33,000. So we're going to go all the way up. Actually, let me get rid of that 100. We're going to go all the way to 33. Boom, we're cleared all the way. There we go. Anything else for me to note on my checklists? Nope. Climb at 280. Gear up. Actually, it's speed limit's 250. It's already there. Good. And, yeah, that's it. Don't worry about autopilot once you're in the air. So here we go. Holding the brake, spooling this thing up to 97%. Make sure to stabilize it a little bit first. And then we'll spool up to 97. There we go. Let go. Well, bring it back a little bit. We're a little over throttle. We have to be at 92% for cruise and after takeoff, or not for cruise, for after takeoff, because we'll blow the engines otherwise if the oil overheats. Alright, I suppose we should get on center a little bit better, huh? Here you go. Airspeed is now alive finally. I forgot we're high altitude, so it does take a little bit longer to get going.
80 knots.
There we go. We're looking for 119 for rotation. Hopefully there aren't any birds. I haven't seen birds in a very, very long time. In fact, I think they might have been removed. I can't remember, to be honest. Here we go. Almost at V1. Just rotate. It should take off on its own, and it does. Positive rate. Nope. There, gear up for set of flaps in. Keep on that flap schedule. Here we go. And engage autopilot. That should keep us. Gonna watch that flight director. Make sure we don't go too steep or we'll crash. There we go. Let's immediately head down here. No, I can't remember what that is. There we go. Let's do heading and alt. IS hold for alt. That's going to pitch us down and get 250. Is that going to be okay with those mountains? Yeah, that'll be fine. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to go down to here. That way we'll climb. And then I'll gradually move us up to 250 so we clear these mountains. And I think, yeah, lock is lit up. So I'm going to do localizer now. Nav lock. There we go. Autopilot's fully engaged. We are clear. Now we can speed up. It'll dip us down a little bit. We're not too worried. How's our fuel or oil temps doing? We're in the green, but I do have to bring back throttles in a moment. Alright, let's see. How was our climb? Our climb is still good, so I'm just going to move us up even more. 9 miles away from the VOR. Then we'll make a sharp leg to the left. Oh, looks like it's going to turn us now. Okay, yeah, that's right. That's fine. Alright, how are we on climbing? Do we need to climb a little more? I think we're good. Alright, where are we at? Oh, we're at 10,000 feet already. So we can go up to 280. However, if I bring the speed limiter here, the IS to 280, we're going to run right to the mountains because it'll point us down to get that speed. I'm just going to keep crawling this up. Let's come down here, bring engines back to 92% now so we don't start on fire. On N1. Or is it N2? I can't remember. What I've written down. N1, although in real life I think you use N2. But anyway, there we go. Let's keep going here. Our climb rate is still really good. Let's keep climbing. We want to climb at 280. I'm just trying to sightsee at the same time. Although we're in the clouds, so there's not much to sightsee. There you go. That's awesome. What are we at? 12,000 feet. We'll keep landing lights on for a moment. And let's turn our gear off while we can. So again, the reason why I didn't shoot our IS all the way up to 250 is because we wouldn't clear these mountains. Because it would dip us down to get the speed. So, what are we at? We're still climbing. We're at 13 grand. I'm going to stay at 250 right now so that we climb more steeply. And as far as our engine management goes, we're at 92% there. If we come back here, oil temps are in the green. There we go. Green, green. So we're not anywhere near starting on fire. So we're good. Not sure what the elevation is on these mountains. I probably should have checked, although we are technically flying IFR anyway, but I'm just going to keep going. 14,000. Let's turn the landing lights off now. All that can come off. This can go to off as well. I think that's it. It's just sightseeing and managing our climb and our speed. Still climbing at 2,500 feet per minute, so let's keep our speed a little higher again. We can speed up. There we go. That'll point us down a little bit to get speed. Let's actually come in here where we at. We want to climb at 280. But you see how it points us down to get the speed. So if we just go straight up in our AIS, it's going to point us down. So there is 50, 60, 70. There's 280. We're good. Let's do this heading bug in case we lose the VOR sooner rather than later. So here we go. We are going to come down here now, flip this to 2. So just in case we do happen to pick up DME, then I know we can pick up the VOR, because VOR definitely would have come before the DME, but I don't expect anything because there's going to be a big gap in between. So I think that's it. Let me check my checklist here now that we're safe and stable here. Yeah, barometer at 18,000, we'll switch to 29902, which is pretty quick. Auto brakes off. Gear off. Autopilot, we're fine there. Altitude is set. AC packs, I think they're already, or not AC packs. Cutout is already off on, or an auto. Sorry, yeah, that's always like that. That doesn't move. Well, nice. We're at 18,000 now, so let's set our barometer to 29902, which is going to be which way? 29. Oh, the sim stalling because weather's updating. I think 29902. There we go. We get to repeat 18,000. Well, as we're all set, I'm just going to sit here and fly a plane over open water because we're pretty much over the water. And once we lose the VOR, which we will, I'm going to just use the heading bug. And then once we pick up the other VOR, we'll tune in that one and come inbound at whatever I said here, 264 degrees. And our approach, which I never talked about, I cannot find a published instrument approach for the life of me. I know they're out there, but I couldn't find the plate. So we're just going to do an arc, depending on what the winds are. We only have 2 runway choices, so when we get within 15 miles, 18 miles of the VOR, I'll just do an arc to the north or the south, depending what the weather is. I know my arcs have been really bad lately, but there's one way to do it. I guess we could fly over the airfield and then turn, but in a big jet, that's ridiculous. In a small plane, yeah, you just fly over the center of the airfield and then do a traffic pattern visually. But we're too fast for that and too big for that, so we'll do an arc using instruments best as I can. And that's the plan. That's the approach. Well, we're all set. So some sightseeing for you all. There actually won't be that much sightseeing, even though it's a long flight, because it's just going to be water and clouds. There's only so much water and clouds I can show you before it gets boring. So the sightseeing won't be much. So I guess I'll just catch you at top of descent, which I have no idea when that's going to be because my VOR will kick in way too late and the double thrust, half the drag. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. I'll figure it out though before we get there. And that's when I'll cut back in. See you in a bit. Alright, so our other VOR just kicked in at about 152 nautical miles, which I use 150 is a panic number for top of descent. So in other words, if I don't know where my top of descent should be, I use 150 miles out. That's how I determine it. So let's go down here and do nav lock so we can actually get on the VOR like we should. And then we're going to do Mach hold. Let's see, actually, first of all, before we do Mach hold, we have to set our altitude, don't we? We're going to bring this thing all the way down to about 1,000 feet. Because we know our airport is almost at sea level. So there we go. And then to hold that, we're going to use Mach hold. Mach hold because we're above 25,000 feet or so. We're going to arm that. And then to come down, we will simply bring throttles back. And the Mach hold will keep us at that speed where the flag is. In fact, I'll bring it down and bring him, whoops. That went backwards. Go like that to bring it in line. Just, we're going to use that speed, 310 knots. Or Mach hold right now. We'll adjust that as it comes down. However, it'll stay level unless we bring throttles back. So we'll bring throttles back to control the descent rates. Now, because of the lack of drag, this thing will just float forever. So we'll do spoilers if we have to, but it does seem to be coming down quite easily, probably because we're so high. Then when we get down about between 25 and 29,000 feet, I'll switch over to IS hold, and we'll keep it about 310 to descend. Otherwise, that's it for top descent. Something else I did off camera is I used heading hold in between VORs, and the other VOR just came in. So there we go. And what else did I do? That was it. Mach hold because of our altitude. Switched to VORs. When we lost one, I used heading in between, and that was it. Right, we're at 26,000 feet. We're going to come down here and switch this to IAS hold now. And we want to bring this down to about 310. So that's actually going to level us off to slow us down. So I'm going to bring throttles all the way back so we don't climb, because I'll undo the work we did. So let's bring that down to 310, like so. And we're coming down, or we're leveling off, and now we're coming down. I also want to mention the clock over here. I totally screwed this up because I'm like, oh, what does wine do? And it moves the time around. So let's see. Yeah, see, moves the time around all funky like. So I have no idea what time it is really in the sim. So we cannot use that clock to determine the flight time, which is very disappointing because this is a very long flight for me so far, and we have a long ways to go. It would be nice to know what time it is. Well, we're still coming down, and that is it till 18,000 feet. I'll tell you what happens then. So it's using our stopwatch over here, and we're going 10 miles per minute. So that means in 9.5 minutes, we'll be at our destination. And we're going 2,000 feet, so 2,000 times 9 is 18, which means we're going to be 3,000 above at our destination. So we have to come down more steeply. But I don't want to do spoilers yet, but we're going to at some point because we're going to be several thousand feet over the airport at our destination. And that's mainly because of this lack of drag in this aircraft in this model, which will be fixed in version 3, of course, but this is version 2, and we have to deal with what we have to deal with. So when we get down into like the 18 to 15,000 range, we'll start doing spoilers, and we'll recalculate this just so that we don't end up way above our airport. I'd rather be a little low, actually, because we can always level off, right? But if we're too high, we got to go straight down. So we'll worry about that as we get there. Next thing to talk about, as previously mentioned, is 18,000 feet. Alright, so there's almost 18,000 feet, so let's pull up our destination airport, which should be right here, right? SEGS, right? That's what we're landing at. Let me check. Yeah, Sierra Echo Golf Sierra. Alright, make sure I have the right place. And, well, let's click on it. Get the details. Details say wind 8 knots, 230. Okay, so 238 knots, 2985 is what we want right now. I'm wondering about that. So 2985. There we go. And why the alt light come on? Let me check something here. That was weird. I guess it's going to reset it maybe. Still armed. Okay, that's all that matters. So 2985. Our airport choice, or runway choices are 14 and 32. And wind was what? 230. So the closest we're going to get, I guess, is runway 32. Right? Because 270 would be west. Yeah, 32 is the closest we're going to get. So what we'll do then is when we get within about 15 to 18 miles, we'll do an arc to the south. Try to land at runway 32. And if it doesn't work out, we'll go around. But I'm really hoping it works out. Clouds at 1,100 feet, huh? Okay, so we're going to be using radios till the last minute. Wow. Okay. It's going to be tricky. We won't be able to see anything until we're pretty much lined up with the runway. So maybe we'll make that arc more like 20 miles just because we can. So anyway, I'm going to let you stare out the window here while I recalculate our speed and descent. Alright, right now we're doing about 8 miles per minute, which is going to put us in even higher over the airport. So we need to start slowing down anyway because of the speed limit at 10 grand. So let's bring this down to 250. It's going to level us off to slow us down, but that's okay. I guess I'm going to use spoilers actually to slow us down a little bit more. Something else I forgot to mention. What am I doing? Wrong preset. Something else I forgot to mention is that 18,000 feet for the transition altitude for the barometer is the US. I don't know what it is in this part of the world, so I just used it as 18,000 feet. I really should probably look that up, I guess, because it is different. It's drastically different in different parts of the world for transition altitude. So here we go. Bring the spoilers back in. There we go. And 48 miles out. We're going to need spoilers again, probably. But we're in the clouds, realms at 10,000 feet. Let's get some stuff going. Let's do landing lights, taxi lights, and turn off lights. And let's do the brakes to max while we're up here. Otherwise, it's obviously much too early for flaps, much too early for gear. We do already have the lights on the brakes. Spoilers are armed, but we're going to need them. And we already have our barometer. So there we go. I guess we can check our V card since we're just killing a few minutes here. Landing 30 flaps, which is 5 o'clock on the dial. 127. That's our speed with 30 flaps. I'm actually thinking maybe will we have enough runway if I bring flaps to 20 or 15 instead? It would be a faster landing speed. So we need more runway. But what I'm thinking is it won't be as wobbly maybe because I've been having a lot of difficulty wobbling in this aircraft. That's so fast though. I don't know. Let's just do the standard 30. We'll keep it like that. So anyway, we're all set to go. We're not quite at 10 grand, but I already have speed limit set, lights, spoilers armed, auto brakes. Of course, that stuff's like way too early. I'm going to need the spoilers anyway. But we're all set. We're only dropping 1,000 feet per minute now. Throttles have been idle since top of descent, by the way. So we haven't used any throttle. That's just how long this thing coasts. So let's see if I recalculate. Let's see if 15 seconds how many miles we go. That was 1 mile. Let's see, you want to get another mile in there in those 15? 2 miles. So that's about 8 miles per minute. So that means in like 8, 16, 32, 4. So 4.5 minutes we'll be at our destination. It's 1,000 feet per minute times 4 will be 6,000 above our airport. So let's bring spoilers out. Try to get a 2,000 foot descent, which is a little steep, but we don't have a choice in this model until it's updated. So we're just going to deal with it. So we're going to keep an eye on a few things. Make sure you don't slow down too much because I don't have any throttles. And I'll catch you probably when we're close to doing that arc. It sure looks ominous out there, especially if you look out the side window, where we should be able to see some islands. At least to the left of the wing there should be some islands, but this is kind of reminding me of a Bermuda Triangle trip. I hope we survive this one. So we're 22 miles out. Let's start our arc, just because I want to have a long berth. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, do heading hold like this, and we are going to set our VOR to 32 because it's at the end of the runway. And if we do 320, that's a 32, 320, that should give us an approximation of where the runway is. So there we go. So that's kind of what the runway looks like, and we want to do an arc. So let's keep the arc going. We kind of want to not really do a downwind, but pretty close. I meant to do 32, there we go. So let's start this arc. Let's keep our speed where it is. I think I'm going to reset autopilot to 2 grand. I think for this. It probably could even be higher, but there isn't any terrain or anything, I don't think. Gosh, we are coming over part of the islands, because if we're coming from the north, we'd be going off the ocean. But coming from the south, we are going to be going over something. Let me see, anything on this map? Oh no, there's not any terrain there. Nope, but the VOR is at the end of the runway, so we're going to use that radio to get in. Nice. I could tune in my ADF too. There's an ADF there, isn't there? Anyway, let's keep this arc going. We want to be pretty much parallel to the runway. We're within 17 miles. I don't want to go within 15. I want to say at least 15 out from this airport. So anyway, we're going to come down a couple more 1,000 feet, and then autopilot will hold us at 2 grand and have to use throttles again. But I just want to have a nice big, at least a 15-mile final, so I can get everything set up. Let's keep going. There we go. We can use this here so we know where the VOR is, because that's going to point right at it. So actually, let's keep going. Yep, there we go. Good. I wanted a mile back. Good. We might be getting another mile out of this, but that's okay. We're just going to keep this nice big arc around this thing. But we know it's here, so I don't want to start turning in yet. So we're going to use this dial here to tell me where the VOR is, and then the heading bug to do our arc. And I will catch you, I guess, when we're about ready to do final, because autopilot's going to level us off here in a minute, and I got a lot of speed and stuff to manage. So we're just going to arc around, and I'll catch you in a little bit here. So we've leveled off at about 2,000 feet with autopilot. We're 19 miles out, and I have set us up so that we will intercept, hopefully intercept, the 320 track going inbound and give us hopefully around a 15-mile final, I hope. The needle's not moving yet, though, which is making me nervous. I've also slowed us down to about 200 knots so we can get gear and flaps out as soon as we intercept that radial, just in case we're a little bit closer than I thought we would be. Oh, nope, it's starting to move now. I don't know why I'm not picking up localizer. It's not a localizer. It's still pick up loc on there so I can do nav lock. I don't really understand why it's not picking that up. Or is it? Oh yeah, it is. It's just the sun I can't see. There it is. This group is blue. Okay, that was lit up the whole time. I just couldn't see it. Alrighty, so we're going to let the computer drag us in. It's going to be about 15 miles, just like I said. Maybe 14 by the time we actually intercept. So we have holding at 200 knots. I think we can get gear down now. First set of flaps down. We can probably bring autopilot down to 1,000 feet. So let's do that like that. Come down here, do IS, hold, heading, select. Bring us down to grand. And then I'll fly us in manually pretty soon. We're not going to be able to see a darn thing, though, until we get pretty much at the runway, because there's the ocean 1,900 feet below us, and yeah, it just looks scary. Turning us in now to our final, which is 14 miles out. Okay, I said between, well, it's going to be 13, I guess. That was pretty close, though. Can't see anything. We don't have a localizer. This is nuts. I flew all this way, though. We're not turning back. So, as long as I use this until we get to 1,000 feet to see anything, I sure hope we can, hope we see the runway. It said the ceiling was 1,100, so we should be dropping below the clouds any minute. I sure hope so. This is kind of nerve-wracking here. I can't see anything. I'm going to have to call it if I can't see it soon. Oh, I see something. Oh, okay, that's just water. Okay, we're going to drop below the clouds, I hope. I hope. There we go, below the clouds. I don't see our runway, though, because the clouds are going to the ground. Let me raise these clouds just a little bit. Alright, I raised the clouds manually to 2,000 feet. Just so we can see what we're doing without turning off weather. We still have the same wind. We still have the same clouds. I just raised them a little bit because we don't have a localizer, and that just wasn't going to be fun. So I believe our runway is way beyond that landmass. So we have quite a ways to go. What are we doing? I bring this down to 1,000 where we're holding. I better give us some throttle. We're going to stall. Second set of flaps. I was too busy talking. So we're flying pretty dirty. Gears down. Flaps are almost at 30. Keeping our speed up. We want to approach at the second flag. Land at the first flag. +5 plus gusts. So a little beyond that first flag. I believe we have one more set of flaps to go. 2 more sets of flaps to go. A lot more throttle. Hopefully we can do this. We've come a long way. We should be able to sightsee a moment because we're on autopilot. Yeah, let's get those flaps out because we're sinking backwards, see? Getting a little slow. Nice and loud. We're flying super dirty. Looks awesome. Welcome to the land of the giant tortoises. That's why we flew here. Let's hop inside. Let's land a plane. Ooh, I was goosing the throttle as I was talking. I'm glad I did because we were getting kind of slow. So I don't know where the runway is. It should be out there somewhere. Take out our binoculars super fast. There it is. Perfectly in front of us. How is that for not knowing the area? Let's kill autopilot. Let's fly this thing in, and the wind immediately blows us to the left. And I'm already, see, wobbly. This is what I was talking about. For some reason, it gets wobbly. I don't know if it's the model or me. I don't want to say it's me, because like I said, historically, my best approaches and landings have always been in this aircraft. But ever since an update a while back, I haven't been able to do this very well. But we're going to do the best we can. Alright, one hand on my yoke, one hand on my throttle like normal. I really hope I have a somewhat okay landing. Version 3 of this aircraft cannot come soon enough. And we're not doing any sightseeing at all. I just want to land this plane. We're wobbling a little bit. Let's stay above this ridge. Airport elevation is like 200, I think. Oh, a lot more throttle, Alright, I'm just going to go sterile and bring this thing in. How's that for the worst landing I've ever had in this aircraft? Oh man, that was horrible. That was pretty hideous. I've got regular brakes on and reversers, and oh my gosh, I just couldn't get it under control. That was that wobble I was talking about ever since a few updates ago, where you just can't go smooth. It goes one way, then the other, then the other. Granted, we had a crosswind, complete crosswind, but that's not an excuse. That was just terrible. So anyway, terrible landing. Version 3 of this aircraft cannot come soon enough. We're just going to pull right up to the gate. We'll start shutting everything down here. Let's just probably go right about here and set that parking brake. Get these lights off because we're really making people mad here. And let's shut this thing down. Alright, how about we watch the replay of the worst landing I've ever had on this aircraft, just because I probably won't fly it again until version 3 is out. So let's just amuse ourselves here. So I came down completely on the wrong side of the road. I wasn't on the grass though, I thought it was, but you can see that wobble. See, that's that wobble I'm talking about that I can't control. Nice and smooth touchdown. I didn't realize I was down. I'm used to smaller planes, and it looks like I did pull the nose wheel up. I was trying to keep it smooth, but it looks like I did pull it up. And then we kind of do a Tokyo drift here. Look at that thing go sideways. This thing is so out of whack. Oh man, I cannot wait for the next version. Let's head back to real time and shut this thing down. Alright, so flaps are already in, lights are already off as they should be. External power. Let's see if I can do this the right way here before we shut everything down. Actually, I should probably shut the fuel off first, I think, right? I normally don't do this. I normally just end it here. But let's kill fuel. We have the air card and everything, so I think we do external power. That should keep everything on, right? We're not going to use APU. They don't like that anymore these days. Yeah, everything's still running. Okay, I did that right. Alright, what's next? Fuel off, already did. External power, already did. That's all I have for shutdown. Some of this other stuff can come off then, obviously. That's already off. Let's just keep the logo light on. And seatbelts can come off. No smoking will stay on. And hope everybody enjoyed their flight. Let's hop outside. Have a quick debrief. So welcome to the Galapagos Islands, land of the giant tortoises. Sorry about the rough landing, folks, but hey, the aircraft is obsolete and out of commission, and we'll be getting a better version soon. But the flight itself went great. That was a long flight. That was like almost 2 hours. I don't know what I was thinking when I thought it was going to be an hour, but I got to get better about my timing. I just love to fly. I just pick my places, jump in. I don't care how long it takes. I just love to fly. And we made it. So we're going to spend a couple flights island hopping a little bit before we fly back. So if you're already a subscriber, thank you for your continuing support. If you found me by accident, please like, please subscribe. With that being said, catch you on the next one.